Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey there.
So today we're jumping into Boise, Idaho. We've pulled together a whole bunch of info, Google reviews, local tips, personal favorites, all that stuff.
Yeah, trying to really get a feel for the place. What makes it stand out?
Exactly. Our whole mission here is basically to give you a quick but really solid understanding of what Boise is all about, the highlights, the must-sees.
Consider it your shortcut to knowing Boise. This Western paradise, as some call it. So, okay, Boise, capital of Idaho, population, what, over 235,000?
Yep, that's the number. And what keeps coming up is this idea of it being a mix, like mountain culture meets history.
Right. It's not just another city. There's that connection to the outdoors, but also its own story.
For sure. And even though it's not, a gigantic metropolis, everything we looked at just shouts about how much there is to actually do there.
Which naturally leads us straight to the outdoors. That seems huge in Boise. The Boise River Greenbelt, for instance.
Well, Greenbelt comes up constantly.
25 miles of path along the river.
25 miles. I know, right? For
Yeah.
walking, biking, running. And the backstory's pretty interesting, too.
Oh, what's that?
Well, apparently, it wasn't always this lovely green space. It used to be more of an industrial dumping area.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah, until I think it was 1964. The city passed an ordinance to clean it up and develop it. Kind of a major turnaround.
That really says something about the city's priorities then, reclaiming that space.
Totally. Now it connects all these parks, like Veterans Memorial Park, and you've got kayaking events happening.
Right, like at Quinn Riverside Park. It's clearly a central part of city life.
Definitely. And that's just the path in the city.
Yeah.
If you want more rugged stuff, the hiking options sound incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Over 170 trails nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Mountains, valleys, waterfalls.
Okay, 170 trails. That's a lot. Any specific ones jump out?
Well, Cable Rock Trail gets mentioned a lot. Great views, apparently, and there's an old abandoned quarry up there, too.
Ah, interesting. A quarry.
Yeah. And Survey Peak, that one sounds like a tougher climb, but with amazing views over lakes and rivers.
So real mountain hiking is right there on the doorstep.
Pretty much. And the sources all give those important reminders, bring water, have a GPS or map, maybe hiking groups.
Right. Be aware of wildlife. This isn't just a walk in the park, some of these trails.
Exactly. Proper planning needed.
Okay, so Greenbelt, serious hiking. What about something a bit more leisurely on the river?
Ah, yes. Floating the Boise. Seems like the thing to do in the summer.
Everyone mentions it. Renting tubes, kayaks, just drifting down.
And the descriptions make the river sound surprisingly nice,
Mm-hmm.
Clean, beautiful, right through the city.
Yeah, that's impressive. And they have that big Float the Boise event every year.
Seems like it, a real community tradition. And it's good to know there are different parts, some little rapids, some calm streams.
Visiting for everyone then. Okay, shifting from the river itself, what about plants and nature in a more curated way?
Good question. The Idaho Botanical Garden came up. Sounds like the place to see regional plants.
Mountain species, wildflowers, even endangered ones.
Yeah, exactly. And they do tours, guided or self-guided, focusing on Boise's climate and even how Native Americans use the local plants historically.
Oh, that's cool. So it's not just pretty flowers. There's a deeper layer.
Right. Learning opportunity. Plus, the seasonal stuff, spring blossoms, summer butterflies. Sounds lovely year-round, really.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. History and culture. That old Idaho penitentiary sounds imposing.
Doesn't it? Built in 1870. That's some serious history.
And you can actually go inside.
Yep. They offer guided tours talking about scandals, prison breaks, Wild West stories.
Wild West tales at a penitentiary, huh? Must have housed some character.
You'd think so. And they have exhibits, too. Artifacts, cannons.
Yeah.
Something called Faces of the Idaho State Penitentiary.
Gives you a real sense of the past. And I saw mention of a weapons exhibit, too.
Yeah, the Curtis Earl Memorial exhibit of historic weaponry. Sounds intense.
And ghost tours in the cemetery.
Apparently. If you're into spooky stuff. Oh, and a useful tip was to go on a weekday if you can, less crowded.
Good to know. Okay, so from a place people wanted to escape to a place people came to. The Bass Block.
Right. This sounds fascinating. A whole neighborhood reflecting the culture of Basque immigrants from Spain.
Late 19th century, right. That's a really specific and interesting piece of Idaho history.
Totally. And they've preserved it. Boarding houses, other historic buildings. There's the Basque Museum and Cultural Center there, too.
Wild West artifacts and immigrant stories. That's quite a combo.
It is. Plus, you can actually experience the culture. There's a Basque market, try Spanish wine, local food.
Sounds like a must-visit area to really understand a unique part of Boise.
Agreed. Okay, what about the art scene?
Well, the Boise Art Museum seems like a cornerstone. Native American art, Western art, modern stuff.
Yeah, quite a range. The sources mention some cool-sounding past exhibits, like one on tea, another on abstraction, myths.
Shows they're quite active and diverse in their curation. And they do events, right? Art in the park, lectures.
Seems well connected to the community.
And then there's something completely different, Freak Alley Gallery.
Yes. This sounds awesome. It's apparently the largest open-air art gallery in the region, started back in 2002.
So it's like murals in an alley.
Pretty much. Between 8th and 9th Streets, murals, colorful portraits, all sorts of styles by different artists, and it's constantly changing.
Oh, so you can sometimes see artists actually painting.
Yeah, that was mentioned. And there's local volunteer support, maybe even live music sometimes. Just sounds like a really vibrant, living art space.
Very cool. Okay, back to parks for a second. Julia Davis Park.
Right, this one's downtown, also along the river. Sounds like a real hub.
A gathering place.
Yeah, for artists, musicians, locals just hanging out. It has like manicured trees, rose gardens, but also memorials like an Abraham Lincoln statue and something called the Window to the River Memorial.
So beauty and history combined, plus tennis courts, playgrounds, practical stuff too.
Exactly. Sounds like a classic, well-loved city park.
Now, getting into the local vibe. Farmers markets are always a good window into a city. Boise Farmers Market?
Yep. Runs April through the fall. Fresh produce, obviously, but also local crafts, baked goods, sweets.
Eat essentials.
Definitely. A chance to meet the vendors, taste what's in season. They mentioned locally made bread, honey, even wine.
Nice. And live music sometimes, too.
Yeah, in the summer. Sounds like a great weekend spot.
And speaking of local tastes, the craft beer scene seems pretty significant.
It really does. Lots of mentions of beer pubs, breweries.
And tours, like dedicated craft beer tours.
Yeah. Boise Bicycle Tours was mentioned. They visit places like Payette Brewery. But there are walking tours, too, if bikes aren't your thing.
So clearly a big part of the local culture there.
Seems that way. Which leads us nicely into food.
Ah, yes. Idaho's mountain cuisine. What does that entail?
Well, the sources emphasize steaks, meats generally, and using that local produce again, tying back to the farmer's market.
Makes sense. Any specific local dishes to look out for?
Trout and potatoes came up, classic Idaho, I guess. Also local beef jerky, venison, and something called finger steaks.
Finger steaks. Okay, I'm intrigued. What are those?
Apparently, strips of steak, battered and deep fried. Sounds uniquely Idahoan.
Huh. Definitely sounds like something you'd have to try while you're there.
Right. Got to sample the local specialties.
So wrapping things up, it really feels like Boise offers a bit of everything.
It really does. You've got that amazing outdoor access, the Greenbelt, all that hiking.
Yeah.
Then the history is right there. The old pen, the Basque Block.
Plus a lively cultural scene with the art museum, Freak Alley, the market, and this distinct local food and drink culture.
Exactly. So our goal for this deep dive, like we said, was just to give you that quick but hopefully really useful snapshot of Boise's highlights, a shortcut to being in the know.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. We talked about this blend of, rapid growth and development alongside trying to preserve the natural beauty and history.
Yeah, that tension.
Right. So thinking about that, what do you reckon are the biggest challenges or maybe opportunities facing Boise in the next few years as it keeps growing and attracting people?
That's a good question. Definitely something to think about.
Indeed. Well, thanks for exploring Boise with us on this deep dive.